So, my city of Sint-Truiden is actually famous for three things: football, fruit, and the third one is actually prostitution. So, in my family, I have an interesting story. And actually, my grandmother was actually a female pimp, or we call it also a madame. And she used to have a brothel, I think 1 kilometer from the place where I'm sitting here in my studio. This installation actually, I called Op Grootmoederswijze, on Granny's Way. My grandmother had 3 children, one of that was my mother. And I actually became obsessed with this story because one time, when my mother sadly passed away, I found a shoebox and there was a picture of my grandmother and an article. And then in this article is written, "Girl found dead in Leuven." And it's actually about my mother's half-sister. My mother also told me about this story, that my grandmother, who I never know, was not very good to them as children, right? Also another example, is, of course, she didn't kill her probably, but she didn't went to the funeral of her own child. When my mother was born, they also just gave her away to her grandmother. But it's pretty tragic, of course, because my mother was very nice and very good to me, very loving. And this brothel, how you see it, or this installation, it's called again on Granny's Way, because you see this grandmother kind of type here. So here on this walls, it's what grannies could have in their wall. Or you have this music piece standing there. Here you have this old lamp standing there. But you also see very atypical things. You have here a poster of the Casablanca, because at that time the brothel was called Casablanca. But also there you see a lake. And this is actually the lake where my grandmother's body was found some months before I actually was born. By the way, it was found by the canoe. That's why you have a canoe here, with my father in it and her son actually in it. So you see it's very tragic, this story. But most people who come here think it's very humorous that they see a brothel in the catacombs. So that's why I think it's interesting, because once people know this story, they see it in a different manner. And when you see closer, you see also here a real human skeleton laying. It's not the skeleton of my grandmother, but it's a real human skeleton. But of course, the memento mori aspect is here. You're in the catacombs, so of course it makes sense. But people, they always, if they look at contemporary art, they shoot on it very easily. And that's why I created actually this installation here. You see this brothel, but there's a very big story around it.